The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you. Hello and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the creature double feature that is Eric Velasquez. Put in some fire and lightning there. My pronouns are also he, him. Welcome to the show, folks.
Man, so before I watched you watched Amityville Frankenstein before I did, and you warned me.
I did.
Even though you warned me, I was not prepared. I was so angry about this movie. I think this may be the worst movie I've ever seen. I was so mad. Oh, man.
Hey, guess what, guys? We got a new worst.
Yeah, I mean, before we kept talking about our Italian reanimator. That doesn't even come close. Like, this is unbearable. Oh, man.
Right?
I'm excited to talk about it, but like I think the double feature was definitely the right call because there is nothing going on in this movie.
No. So first off, let's go ahead and get this party started. Amityville Frankenstein isn't actually Amityville Frankenstein, but it kind of is. It's actually the FMV scenes from Fiendish Thieves.
Okay. Which
is a video game. I haven't played it. Not gonna play it. Looks terrible. I think it's gonna be awful. I don't think I care.
So these were pre-existing, or it's based on it, or it's the actual footage from the game?
I cannot be 100% certain, so take this with a giant grain of salt. But from everything I understand, this is basically the FMV scenes, the scenes from the video game, brought it as a movie. It would make a lot more sense if that were the case.
Wow.
Because nothing is going on here. Like, if there were gameplay elements, I don't know. I'm not going to buy this game. It does not look good. I'm sorry. Like, one, good on you for making a video game. That's impressive. I don't know how much of the video game was made, but you know what? You have actors. I'm not going to poo-poo too much on it. Like, well, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to add too much more crap on it than I need to, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I hope, everybody, if you're listening to this, you've listened to plenty of episodes from us, you know that when a low-budget movie, if it feels like the people are trying their best and they're having fun, we give a lot of grace to a lot of movies that are not technically good. Right. This movie, not only is it not good, it doesn't feel like they care. Like, they're not trying to make anything good or interesting. Like, it feels like people were like, hey, I bet we could throw this together in, a weekend and make a couple dollars off of Tubi ads. Like,
right. Well, here's the thing, right? So 100%, this seems like something that would have came out of YouTube in 2011.
Yes.
100%. And you know what? If it came out of YouTube in 2011, I would definitely be like, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, the framing story, I mean, the main sort of actor is doing, I mean, he's doing a bit. Like, he's doing bad acting on purpose. He's doing bad jokes on purpose. And it's not landing for me, but I do, YouTube is a good, this seems like a kind of anti-humor that would have been on YouTube back in the day, for sure.
And here's the thing, you're saying, I don't think they cared. The worst part is, I think the people who weren't, I think the Chauncey character, who's the wraparound character, cared. And I think the Maurice character, who's the horror host, cared.
Yeah.
I think everyone else was just we're having fun with our friends. And that's fine. That's fine, but maybe, don't release it for a sale.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to crap on you. All right, so do you want me to give, like, the literal 5-minute overview of this thing? Because it will only take, like, 5-10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
All right. Put on your clock in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're opening up with somewhere in Amityville. There's this dude. We're going to find out his name's Chauncey. He's just literally looking for snacks. Also, why is there so much peanut butter in this man's pantry? Like, why does he want that much peanut butter? There are stacks of this stuff. He literally says he's looking out for his girlish figure. Once again, that's a non-joke.
Yeah.
Literally calls it popcorny, and decides if he wants to have hot sauce or popcorny with his peanut butter. Interesting choices. Go you. Pop off, my dude. So he's just, like, talking about, like, all of his soft drinks. And this is just in somebody's home, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
for
absolutely, probably his, maybe a friend's. Anyway, he calls the water lechuga instead of agua. Do you know what lechuga means, man?
No, I did mean to look that up and I forgot to.
It means lettuce. He called it lettuce. I don't know why. He literally comments, I don't know why I like to do it. I just like to call my agua lechuga. Sure, why not?
Okay,
anyway, we get some weird scene about a podcast. I don't even know. There's actually a kind of cool vaporwave intro. Just hangs there for 45 seconds on the dot. I timed it. Why? I do this for you guys. I don't know. So literally, we get nothing actually going until 5 minutes in total. Okay? Mm-hmm. The dude's just talking about his massive movie collection, which, props to him, that is a large movie collection.
Yeah.
Floor-to-ceiling DVDs. So he doesn't even know what he's going to watch, but he turns it on, and we see Terror Telly being with Maurice Morbid, who's giving off some strong Garth Marenghi Dark Place vibes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. All right, so literally, he's calling it Fiendish Thieves. He talks about the game plot, we see the intro to the game, and literally at this point, I just go, holy fuck, what a bait and switch. I think this is just a game after. Yeah, I did the research. It is. So these guys, I don't know if they're supposed to be British or Australian, because the accent kind of goes between the two.
Yeah.
Which, that's fucking wild. Okay, why not? At one point, their accent's too thick when they're just talking about getting chocolate or marshmallows, not just doing burglary. Why? Fuck if I know. I didn't write this thing. But we find out we're looking for a pocket watch. Not pocket watch, pocket watch.
Yeah.
All right. So they finally get on with the job and they go upstairs. They walk up these stairs for 5 fucking minutes solid.
Yes.
Okay. We get no breaks.
This movie is an hour long, and so much of that is padding. It is wild.
Like, this is just padding the movie, right? Like,
yes.
If you named it that, I would be like, that's genius. That's smart. So after that, like, 5 or 10 minutes, we cut back to Maurice talking about how this movie made him afraid of staircases. Yeah. I mean, sure, just exposure, I guess. We go back to Chauncey, just eating popcorn like a dick. He's popping in his mouth and missing. Like, on purpose, though. You can tell this is on purpose. Like, why? What did that add? I don't know. All right, anyway. He asks no one in particular if they're ready, but he talks about himself in the third person, calling himself Chauncey, because we need to know his name. And then he finally gets popcorn in his mouth. More walking upstairs for about another 5-10 minutes. Now they're just snooping around the kitchen. Fuck it. Why not, right? One dude accuses the other of stealing his toothpaste because it's a bit squeezed in the middle. Why do we have a, literal minute and a half long argument about this? Fuck if I know. Okay? So they get in a big, argument over one squeeze of the toothpaste tube. Also, there's a lot of paint in this kitchen. Just, why? I don't know. Fuck it. Let's keep going. All right, cut to Maurice. He's talking about bungling better and burgle even better. Sure, man, whatever. All right, anyway. But he does say this is so dumb. And he talks about them being dumb for going in there. Why? They haven't really gone in anywhere. And we haven't seen any monsters. He's worried about them. Good for him. Cut to the outside for the abandoned building. We get a long exposure shot for a whole fucking minute. 1 minute on the dot, no more, no less, just clouds going over a building. Mm-hmm. Fuck! Alright, anyway, so then we go on to burglars actually getting upstairs. One has a soda. Where did he get the fucking soda? Okay, fair enough. Right. Then we get just a shot of a radiator for no reason in particular. More walking upstairs. Maurice starts cackling to himself. Why? Why do we have to interrupt this whole thing just to have Maurice start laughing for no fucking reason?
Yeah.
Well. Anyway, that's going to be the theme of this part of the show. Chauncey then goes to talking about being freaked out, eats some more popcorn, starts singing about liking cheese popcorn in particular. Sure. Then we cut back to the thieves. They find rancid wash basin, and one of the guys being Ted, he's the big guy, he disappears for like 5 minutes of this other guy walking around going, Ted? Ted? Ted! You know, like he's calling out for solid snake or something, man. Okay. Then after that, we cut back to Maurice, who was like, I wasn't expecting that. How could you not be? It was 5 minutes, my bro. What else has happened to this thing? I don't know. All right. Then we cut to Chauncey trying to act in a better film. But he keeps going, are you really doing that? Are you really doing that? But, you know, it's still cheesy as shit. Fucking more stairs for another 10 minutes. Then we cut back to Chauncey failing to eat more popcorn. Decides to do a fart and burp gag. I think he shit himself.
Yeah, that goes on way too long of him being like, I think that was wet. Yep, definitely wet. That's fine. I'll keep going. He just
Let's just have skid marks on the couch. Nobody will ask questions. Does check himself for the skid marks. Then we cut back to the thieves walking around in the dark. Then we cut back to Chauncey drinking water because he loves his lechuga. The thieves then check the map trying to figure out where they're going. We finally see a shot of a Frankenstein monster for like a second. Cut back to Chauncey trying to tell them not to go in there one more time. Why is he so worried? I don't know. It's like these are completely different movies. Anyway, so finally the thieves bust into a room looking for the map still. They know that there's they see a body on a slab covered in a sheet. They pull it back. And, okay, listen, I'm a simple man. We get a big-breasted Bride of Frankenstein creature on this slab. And I'm like, okay. For some reason, it's all blue. Like, they put the blue filter on this one. Sure, why not? I also noticed that this goth girl has some very spiky lashes. Like, those things are pointing like those are spikes. Don't know how she did it. Good for her.
I'm impressed you could even notice that because it's so poorly lit. Like all of the fiend or the thieves section is, I mean, it's almost like there are parts of it where it's just like all you can see is that they're holding a lantern and you can't see hardly anything else. You
kind of see their faces and maybe some background and that's it. They start talking about a marine sea creature. No idea. I don't know what that has to do with this. Maybe it's in their blood. Fuck if I know. All right, they finally find a light switch. Ted gets shocked. I've said 35 minutes. I'm not sure that that's the case.
So this one is the one that I did time.
Okay, you timed this one.
Because like he touches the electrical equipment or whatever, and it's like he's just going like yeah,
right.
Like as you see shocks, like electricity drawn on him.
But it absolutely loops. It loops back. Yeah.
It happens for 1 minute and 20 seconds, and then we cut to back to Chauncey, who gets a phone call from a friend, and he gets mad that he's like, "You're interrupting this really great movie, and I think you're stealing my DVDs anyway." And he hangs up on him to finish the movie. And while that whole conversation's going on, you can hear the loop of the guy going yeah in the background the whole time. And then when we go back to him, we have another 2 minutes of it. So it's on screen for like 3.5 minutes, plus there's a chunk in the middle of like another 4 minutes that you don't see it, but it's technically still happening.
Right. It felt like 35 minutes, even though it was like 3.5.
It's because like you said, it's a loop. It's a GIF. It's like 5 to 10 seconds long of actual thing looped for 4 minutes. Like that's unbearable to watch. Like I was so frustrated watching this.
Oh yeah, but like you said, he accuses his friend of stealing and clipping the movies and putting them online for a lot of money. I don't know, maybe that works. Fuck it. No, Chauncey says, "This is my time. This is my time to watch TV and chill out." What the fuck are you doing? What's your job, Chauncey? Anyway, once again, shocking is still going on. We get a shot of Frankenstein getting shocked at 39 minutes in. Mm-hmm. Finally, everything stops at 39:40. Like, you could That you could count me on. So this is actually, I think, when things happen.
Yeah.
39 minutes and 40 seconds into the movie. Frankenstein finally awakens with a grrr. The idiot finds his pocket watch at 40 minutes on top. Goth girl gets up. Ted kind of has a blackface thing going on. Because he got shocked, I guess, and burned him. Only his face. He only speaks in gurrs and guttural noises because apparently that shocked him. Doesn't understand the goth girl is right behind him. Anyway, for a moment, we actually have one moment of actual funny, like, comedy happening here is when they start yelling at each other, like him and, the goth girl or the Frankenstein monster?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They, like, go, ah, ah, brr, and then it's like, okay, that's funny. So, 40 minutes, 50 seconds in, the only actual gag happens. Everything goes kind of silent as they try to figure everything out. Ted tries to send the dumb guy off looking for something. I don't even remember. It's not worth my time.
He dropped the watch. He ran out.
Right.
And he's like, go back and get the watch. And Ted ends up having to go get it instead because he won't.
Right. So they also peek the mic as they yell. So we get a little mic spike. So I guess earbud listeners beware. Once again, as the thieves are scared off, the goth girl and the Frankenstein monster have a kiss, a hug. She gives Frankenstein the pocket watch.
Yeah.
And then we cut to outside for another long minute shot. Fuck this. All right, finally, the doctor comes in and sees that the bed's missing. He yells, "This is the second time this has happened this week." Great. It would have been awesome to see the first. Anyway, he has to find them. And he has no... Like, the guy just starts speaking shit. And either my ADHD has said, dude, we're off. We're done. We're fucking quitting. Or, like, the mic is just that bad. Then he finally walks back into a murder room hall and gets grabbed by both the monsters. We then cut to... That's the end of the movie, by the way. Maurice reminisces... He used to be in double features.
Yeah, he used to be a movie star, and now he's stuck being, like, a horror host on, like, basic cable. But someday he'll be a star again. Right.
I was plotted by the crying of children and replaced by these rubes. This is the end of Terratelli.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he starts... We immediately cut into another episode of Terratelli where he's talking about Nikolai Boxlovsky. By the way, isn't it Nicholas Boxley or something like that, who's the writer?
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
It's supposed to be a Russian version of that guy's name.
Yeah.
Where the movie's called I Drink Tea and Watch You Die Slowly.
Yeah, obviously it sounds like a
art house
Giallo movie sort of thing. It reminded me of like the I will drink your blood or tonight I will drink your blood or those kind of things. But we literally this goes on forever. It's 7 minutes here. I did time this one also, where it's a guy dying slowly while a guy sits next to him drinking tea. 7 minutes of that.
And the guy falls over, dies, and Maurice calls it mesmerizingly brilliant. The end. Thank God. All right, time. Let me know if I hit it or ran over.
Yeah, that's it. This movie, it's if you're gonna make an hour-long movie, I mean, something has to happen. But like as we said, there's many scenes here that are obviously padding, and I mean. We didn't even mention the opening credits, which is just like black screen with white text. It's like 2 minutes long.
Right.
Every time we talk about Terratelli, we get its whole credit sequence, which is another minute or two. Like, I mean, the substance of this movie...
What substance?
Is maybe you could make a 5-minute short of like actual stuff happening in this.
And it would have been 10 times better.
Yeah.
That's it.
There are plenty of little shorts on YouTube that are great.
Mm-hmm.
And this could have been like a silly, fun thing that like we would have watched on Patreon and been like, yeah, that was kind of weird and fun. Like the little monster storyline of the bride and the creature waking up and falling in love or whatever. There's something there. But by the time you got to that, I was so antagonistically angry at this movie that there was nothing that was going to make it seem worthwhile to me at that point.
You know what, Anthony? Here's what I'm going to do. And I'm making a promise, so hopefully I don't blow this up.
Okay.
I want to work with you.
Okay.
I want to take this movie and chop it into bits.
Okay.
And make a better movie out of it.
I would love to see what you could come up with. That would be great.
All right, I'm going to be throwing some stuff at you, but give me about 2 weeks. So, 2 weeks from when this is released, I'm giving myself padding. But yes, okay, I'm going to actually set the date right now when I will have it to you to put up either onto Patreon or onto the feed. I will complete this by Saturday, October the 12th.
All right.
So it can be put on the feed.
Yeah, I mean, there could definitely be a better version of this. I think there's no great version of this, but there's a decent version of this as opposed to a horrifically bad version that we currently have.
Right. Like I said, I have the theory that literally just cutting out all the extra bits will fix this movie.
Yeah, it could be much, much better. And I don't. Do you have anything else to say? I was going to say, I feel like the other movie we're going to talk about is really a good counterpoint to this because it is also clearly a very low budget movie. Right. But one, it seems like the people care what they're doing, and two, they're making better use of their resources.
So much more. Like the juxtaposition of these two movies is amazing. Like, because I was expecting Las Vegas Frankenstein. I'm like, oh, this is going to kind of be shit. It's a pretty good like C-level movie.
Yeah, they're having a good time. It's smart. It's it's poking fun at a lot of stuff, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. And it's
smart where it needs to be and dumb where it needs to be.
Absolutely,
but it knows.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So I guess let's technically get the show actually started.
Yeah. So obviously this being Las Vegas, it starts with a bunch of Las Vegas footage over the credits, and we go straight into a classic Vegas show. We've got a hypnotist who is kind of designed to look like he's like a Chris Angel type guy. Will later directly poke fun at Chris Angel, but
can I mention something here real quick? There are two names that popped up to me, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Okay, like most of these people are just kind of they are actors, right? You've probably seen them in a few things. They haven't been anything like super high budget, but there are a couple of people who have been.
Yeah.
One being Daniel Roebuck,
yes,
Detective Gladwell. Okay, and do you know who the other is?
That was the only one I recognized. I'm curious what the other one was.
Oh, you didn't know Noah Hathaway, did you? So
I did not.
For my 80s kids, Noah Hathaway is fucking Atreyu.
Okay, gotcha. Who is he in this?
Like, he's a bit player. Hold on. He plays Norm. He's Norm. He's the show, the Vegas guy, Norm.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, there were these two guys talking to him that I was like, these guys have to be something. Like the way you can just usually even if you don't know the reference, when there's a cameo, it's always like they just shoot it differently. I don't know how to quite put my finger on what it is. You just know. Yeah. And I was like, these guys, they must either be like Vegas people that, if you're familiar with like Vegas magicians or whatever, this may be like a person you'd recognize, but that makes sense. And
and I could have sworn I've seen the other guy before. I don't know. Like, I think his name is Chet.
Okay.
But also, apparently, Michael Carbonaro is also an actual magician.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I knew that. I mean, they were throwing that name around a lot, but I didn't know if it was a fictional character or whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I mean, Daniel Roebuck is definitely like, he's a we just had him recently, not too long ago, I guess, in Rob Zombie's The Munsters, where he was Grandpa.
Right. And he's also in Terrifier 3 as the Santa Claus.
Yeah. So
or he's going to be in Terrifier 3 as Santa Claus.
Gotcha. Yeah, but here, it's pretty clear they shot all of his stuff in like an afternoon. He probably just, he probably was a good chunk of this movie's budget was like, let's get somebody in here that we know.
That and all the silicone body parts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the director of this owns like a horror museum in Vegas.
I could see that.
And he is like a makeup effects guy. So I'm sure he did a lot of his own makeup effects. And I think probably the backstage area that's all like fake stone and everything. I'm sure that's in his museum, as well as the store that they go to in Reno. I'm sure that was all just stuff he already had. Yeah. But again, that's him using the resources he has available to him to save money, and it like works well. Like those sets look good because they were pre-existing things that he just already had.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah. And all right, so Victoria Strange also like she is the love interest. What's her name? Tabitha.
Tabitha, yeah.
Yeah. Like, she's a dead ringer from the little girl from Hocus Pocus.
Oh, Thora Birch?
Thora Birch, yes.
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah. Like, I was like, is this Thora Birch? Or is this the girl from the original Super Mario Brothers? Arguably, what I consider the good one. No, I'm kidding. I literally looked her name up, but I forgot. Samantha Mathis.
Okay.
So, like, if you know who those two people are, you know who Victoria Strange is. Also, is Victoria Strange an alias? Like,
yeah, I wondered if she was like a burlesque performer or something. That sounds like the kind of name that you would see somebody like that have.
Yeah.
These people, I mean, I feel like some of these are just like people that that the director knew from being in Vegas or whatever, and just kind of like called in some favors or whatever.
Right.
She's the sidekick to our hypnotist, who's sort of our main character.
Sidekick / girlfriend. Oh, by the way, like, we didn't bother with any trigger warnings from the other one because why?
Yeah, there was nothing there.
Here, there is going to be SA. There is going to be gore, violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so, and we'll get this like 3 or 4 times over the course of the movie. Like, it starts, like, the first scene is we see the hypnotist show. His name is Victor Van Pelt. Mm-hmm. And his, like, main gag is that he hypnotizes a girl into thinking that there's a spider crawling on her, so she gets scared, and then he tells her the spider is on her ass and that he's going to kill it for her, and he slaps her ass. Then he unhypnotizes her, acts like he's going to kiss her on the cheek, and then kisses her on the mouth, and then sends her back to the crowd. And like, he's just a fucking creep.
Right in front of his girlfriend every time, too, by the way.
Yeah, and there's a point later where she will call him on it and just be like, "What? You're a fucking asshole. You do this over and over again, and I put up with it every night, and I don't know why I do."
Yeah.
Which also, I don't know why these women, they do a good job of, like, this first one where you, like, kind of really see it all play out. The woman is, like, shocked. She's like, "What the fuck just happened?" But she's kind of stunned and just kind of walks to her seat like, "What just happened to me?"
Right. It's like an uncomfortable smile, like, "Hi, what?"
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it feels true to life. This is what would happen. Just like most women would be, like, so stunned that it happened that they wouldn't even think of, like, they wouldn't be able to process for a minute.
Also, they were literally, it was done on stage in front of an audience by a high-powered, arguably, person, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just fucked up. But it's a perfect way to start this, because you know right away, this guy fucking sucks. Like, there's no question.
The writers and maybe the cast know a guy like this. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, he feels very real. Like, this is a very lived-in character that you're supposed to hate.
Right, which it's not hard to do. But then we cut to the title card of Las Vegas Frankenstein. We get some guy, we're going to find out his name's Gary, is playing slots in this dungeon space.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the backstage dressing room, but yeah, it's got a strange, like, you know, like I said, it's got like fake rock walls and stuff. It looks like a castle or something.
Oh yeah. If you've been to an escape room or a true dungeon experience, then you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And so yeah, we'll find out Gary is kind of like Vic's like idiot sidekick, henchman kind of character. And
I was expecting them to do a twist. They never quite got there, but they kind of did. Where, like, Gary would end up being, like, the smartest one out of everybody.
Yeah, he's kind of a one-note character, but he does, like, there is a little bit of interesting stuff with him as we go.
Yeah.
But this sort of, like, first scene with the three of them down in the dressing room, Vic's like, you know, I've been doing this same show over and over again for years. It's really stale. You know, we're not getting write-ups in the local papers anymore. Nobody cares. We need something new. We need something fresh and exciting and magical.
Okay, so tell me this. Like, we also kind of learned that Gary is a little bit of a sycophant. He pretty much says yes to whatever Victor asks him to do or tells him to do.
Yeah.
But, like, Victor's a legitimate wizard. Like, he conjures a fucking journal out of nowhere.
Yeah, like he just watch this, and it's just like suddenly in his hand, and this is not the journal of Victor Frankenstein as I expected it to be. It's the journal of Mary Shelley, who really knew Frankenstein, and you know, it's one of, you know, we've seen this kind of play out several times where, like,
but her Frankenstein was a guy named Roland.
Yeah, she had a a lover, this illicit affair with this guy who was like kind of a necromancer or whatever, and her Frankenstein story was sort of her way to tell the story of Roland, but secretly, because she didn't want anyone to know about her affair.
Okay,
which yeah, we know that Mary and Percy, like they had this sort of like non-monogamous, polyamorous sort of situation. She wouldn't have a secret torrid affair. She would have just had a boyfriend, but whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, unless this dude did I guess he probably did do a lot of fucked up shit, but people have been like, oh yeah, it's her boyfriend Roland,
Yeah. But the sort of gag through this bit is that Gary has never even heard of Frankenstein, which is like, I mean, I don't think it'd be hard to find someone who has never heard of the idea. I mean, sure, there's lots of people who haven't, read the novel or whatever, but just the concept of Frankenstein in general, I feel like is pretty worldwide spread at this point. But
I love how Tabby breaks it down for him. She's like, when we go to see Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's kind of like that, but not exactly. And then also, Herman Munster, from the Munster shows we watch for Patreon. The dad is like the monster, right?
Yeah. If you just picture like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but instead of the hot hunky monster, it's a guy that looks like the dad from the Munsters. That's basically how Frankenstein is, and he's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but also not really, right? It's like there's a few more things that are a little bit wrong with that, but sure, why not, right?
Yeah.
But yes, so apparently, Vic inherited this journal from Mary Shelley from his goth hillbilly aunt from Appalachia. Like, okay, real talk, like, part of my family is from Appalachia. Like, you say goth hillbilly, I'm like, which one?
I wrote to say that. I was like, I love this representation. This is something that most people, cool city people would be like, no, there's not, goth hillbilly. Yes, there
Absolutely
are.
There are.
And they're awesome. Like, this is,
They're the coolest fucking ants.
Yeah.
Right?
I have lived many years in small towns in the middle of Appalachia, and they're definitely goth hillbillies, and they're great. So, I appreciated this very much.
But also, do not fuck with them. Do not fuck with them. You will end up in a barrel. I promise you.
Yes.
So.
And as they're talking about all this, we do get this really cool... it was similar to in Beetlejuice. We had like the backstory stuff in Beetlejuice that was done in a different film style, and here we get like flashbacks of Mary's story as done as a silent movie, and it's got the fake grain. It's in black and white. We eventually see Roland revive the monster, and it is kind of a classic Universal style monster, but it's a puppet, and it's really weird and really cool. I really liked the design on this. I wish we had gotten more of it.
It's almost like they took a little cue from Rob Zombie's with the Super Beast, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's just great. So they go through but basically the difference with this true version of the story is that rather than it being lightning and all this, it's a collar that not only will revive a corpse, but will give the reviver the power to control the corpse. It's like, it's very necromancery. You're bringing some undead to life, and they're in your control.
Right. They even demonstrate it by giving us a pig, I don't want to say pig. It's a foam in the shape of a pig. Clearly a prop.
Yeah.
Then they also use it on is this a toy cat? Because, it's either a toy or a puppet, right?
Yeah, it's something like that, for sure.
Anyway, it works on the cat, didn't work on the pig. So, hey, it worked on the cat, maybe it'll work on a dead body, right?
Yeah. So back in the present, Victor's like, so we need that collar. I can use that. This will be my new act. It'll be perfect. I tracked it down. I know where the collar is.
Right.
But it's at the House of Oddities in Reno, owned by my rival, Jess McMasters, who hates me because he's Tabby's ex, and I stole her away from him.
Oh.
So I can't go get it. So we got to send Gary, the idiot, to go handle this.
Right. Also, this is when we learned that the journal, the front part is in English. The back part is in German for some reason.
Which, in our really Frankenstein-y stuff, sure, German makes sense. But, Mary did not write anything in German. This doesn't make any sense in that context, but sure, fine.
Also, why would she try to hide something in German? Because, in Europe, I don't know if you guys know this, they speak a lot of them speak multiple languages. It's pretty rare for people, especially at that time. If you're of the upper crust, you're going to at least know, what, French? Maybe Italian?
Right.
Definitely German.
Yeah, it's not like this is written in a cipher. Like, it's just German, and like that it's half English, half German. You know, like we had like in Monster Squad, they had the journals of Abraham Van Helsing that were all in German. Sure, makes sense.
Yeah.
Here, there's no context other than that. It makes Victor needs to be able to read the first half and then get stuck midway through. Yeah. That's the only justification for this. But sure, okay.
Yeah, we also learn at this point where the collars comes from. It's okay. This is very like backwoods hillbilly Appalachian goth, right?
Yeah.
It's carved from the casket, from used caskets, baptized in the ashes of witches.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Witches burnt at the stake or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, they send Gary out, and Tabby's like, "This seems all made up. Where did you hear this? This can't be real." And Victor's like, "Trust me, this is going to change everything for us."
Right. Yeah. This is going to make us rich somehow.
Yeah.
Right. I like the generic. We will become rich because raising dead. I feel like there are more steps than that. You got to do marketing, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gary goes on a neat little train ride.
Yeah, which this is the only time that this movie felt padded like the last one. Like, he's just on a train for a while, and he's just looking out the window, having a great time. Eventually,
this and after he tries to visit the House of Oddities.
Yeah.
Those are the only two scenes where it's padded.
Oh, yeah, because he first gets there, the House of Oddities is closed, and then we'll get a lot of footage. Like, we cut back and forth between Vegas and Reno, but all of Gary's stuff is just him, like, walking around. Yeah. He tries to sit down on this, like, ugly-looking aluminum chair that someone has written, "Fuck off, don't sit here," and he's like, "Okay, I guess I won't then."
Right. Nobody's around. Who's going to stop you, my dude?
Yeah.
But yeah, while this is happening, we also get Vic flirting or talking to flirting with a very well-endowed news anchor woman.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's hitting on this girl as she's trying to interview him, and as soon as I saw her, I mean, maybe this is just, you get a sense about this as you watch enough of these kind of movies, but I was like, before too long, we're going to see this girl topless. I can just tell.
Yeah.
I could just tell they're going to show her topless soon enough, and I was right, 100%. Sure enough, we'll get a sex scene with her in a little bit. But for right now, she's just wearing a low-cut top with buttons that are holding on for dear life, and they're some really powerful buttons. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
those buttons are hanging on by the will of God alone.
Yeah. But eventually we go back to Gary. He's about to decide to hitchhike back to Vegas, but he walks past the House of Oddities one more time, and now it's open. So he's like, "Great!" And he goes inside. We get a exact recreation of the head gag from Young Frankenstein, where it's all the dead skulls and then the one living one at the end.
But here's the thing, though. It almost got me. Because she blended in really well with those heads.
Yeah, it's a really old lady and, a bunch of, decayed corpse heads. So, she fits the bill.
I'm not saying that she looks like a corpse. Just the way they shot it made her blend in a little bit better.
Yeah.
So the scare's actually kind of a scare almost.
Yeah, she definitely gets him. Mm-hmm. And she's just weird. She kind of hits on Gary a little bit. And she's calls
him a big old teddy bear.
Yeah. And, she's like, "What are you looking for? What do you need?" And he's kind of nervously trying to tell her. And eventually the old lady's partner, this kind of creepy guy, shows up. Mm-hmm. And they both kind of they're Gary is a simple man. He's really easy to fluster. And they're kind of tag teaming him with just talking really fast and stuff. And he ends up just straight up telling them exactly what he wants. He even says, "It's for my boss, Victor Van Pelt." He tells them way too much information. And they're like, "Ah, yes, we know exactly what you're talking about. We can help you with that."
Right. We have something that can bring dead things back to life.
Yeah. And I think this is the point where we cut back and we see Victor just fucking the interviewer girl. She's topless. She's riding him, and then Tabitha comes in and sees him, and she's pissed off. She storms out.
But I like how, props to Victor. It's actually the interviewer, the anchor woman, who's the one videotaping the sex scene.
Yeah. One instance where Victor's not being like a creep, because it totally could have been him like secretly doing it. But no,
he is still kind of being a creep for cheating on his girlfriend.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's definitely cheating on Tabitha, but yeah, and the interviewer lady, she's into it. Like, she's like, got the viewfinder screen facing towards her, so she's watching them do it, and she's having a good time.
Right. Well, she turns and winks at the camera, right? She's like,
yeah. But back at the shop, they bring out a box and open it up, and Gary's like, yeah, this looks exactly like how Victor described it. This is perfect. But how much is it? And they're like, we know you don't even have money for the train ride back to Vegas. You can't pay us anything. And he's like,
right. You were coming to steal it anyway, right?
Yeah. And he's like, nah, I was gonna try to negotiate something. And they're just like, no, don't worry about it. You could take it for now, but what is free today may be costly tomorrow. The bill will come due eventually.
Right. And they both laugh evilly.
Yeah. Yeah, and Gary, I mean, he's just like, so someone's going to come collect? Sure, fine. And they're like, yeah, someone's going to come collect, all right, ha ha ha.
Right.
He's totally missing the very obvious, monkey's paw situation here.
Just everything else that happens is definitely 100% on Vic. Do your own dirty work.
Yeah. Yeah, you send an idiot to do an important job, and things are going to get fucked up. I mean, what else can you say?
So now we cut back to Vic wearing a banana hammock. Apparently, Tabby accuses him of still acting like he's 20 because apparently he did a lot of cheating.
Yeah. They have a big fight, and it's kind of like she's like, I'm going to leave you. Like, this is, and he's just like, come on, forgive me. And she's like, I'm going to find another job. I'm out of here.
Right, I'm gonna leave you for carbonara.
Yeah, which is like his big rival, I guess.
Aside from McMaster's. By the way, did you catch McMaster's name? Because he is not even mentioned anywhere else in the movie. That's it. We're done with McMaster.
Yeah, Jesse McMaster's. And it's like, like the guy at the shop maybe is him or maybe is not. We don't know. Like, right. He's never identified by a name.
Why wouldn't he just make the rival Michael Carbonaro?
Yeah, it could have all been the same thing. Yeah. Although we'll later get a party where it's clear that Tabby wants nothing to do with... Carbonaro has some like shitty staff as well that she doesn't want to get mixed up in. So, I mean, it seems like just the, guys in power in Vegas are shitty. Surprise.
Right. The sky is blue on most of the time and the grass is green.
Yeah. So at that point we have Gary arriving back with the collar. Vic's super happy. And Tabby comes back in. She's still broken up with Victor, but she's also still working with him because she doesn't have any other options yet. She hasn't moved on. So she's kind of like, I mean, she's in her costume. She's kind of being bitchy to him, as she should be. But she's like, this collar, it's bullshit. It's not. And like, Victor's like, just wait. You'll see. And
by the way, why did you call Gary a good son? Like, Gary... It might be a couple years older than Vic, if not the same age.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it seems strange. It's like they keep talking about the purpose of this collar is it revives the dead, and then you can control the dead. And so the first thing Victor does is he hooks it to a car battery that he says is connected to the Stratosphere Casino.
Right. By the way, the car battery is in his bookshelf. Like, this had an implication to me because he had jumper cables.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't have that just in your house unless you're using it for something, and there's nothing you could use it in your house for that's not nefarious.
Right. It's either sexual stimulation or, hey, you owe me money. Right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We're on the same page with that one.
Yeah. But so, like, they don't have a corpse right now, so he connects it to his hand and electrocutes his own hand, and he's like, okay, that didn't really do anything.
Right. That would be really cool if we had an Evil Dead scenario.
Yeah, I mean, like, when he did that, I was like, this seems like a bad idea. And, I mean, best case scenario here is that nothing happens, which is what does happen. Because, like, you're not going to revive an already existing thing.
Yeah.
And then he connects it to Gary, to his neck, and does it to Gary, and then commands him to do stuff, and he does it, and he's like, oh, wait, I forgot. You do everything I say anyway, so that doesn't really prove anything either.
Was that because I compelled you to, or just because you do what I say? And Gary's like, oh, yeah, I do everything you say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, answer that question.
Yeah, so now Vic's like, well, we need to know what's on the rest of the journal. That might help us figure all this out. And And Gary's
Gary,
like,
your parents were German, right?
Yeah, Gary's like, yeah, I'm fluent in German. No one's ever asked. And he's like, all right, well, cool. Translate this journal. And they just leave Gary to do that.
Yeah, they have to go to a party now.
Yeah. So we have like they do the show again. Say we just kind of get quick little bits of it. Same classic show. He slaps a girl's ass, etc. Yeah. And then when the show's over, like Gary's like, all right, I've translated everything, and Vic's like, all right, cool. Now we need you to go collect some bodies. So we have this after party happening.
What Gary tells him is someone or some bodies have to die.
Oh, right, yeah. It can't just be one. Right. It's got to be a Frankenstein monster. We got to put bodies together. If it's just one, it doesn't work. It's got to be a new creation.
Right, like this is definitely dark magic type shit, right?
Yeah. It's in the necromancer. I mean, like this collar seems, it's like it's the magic of the used coffin and all that. It's not science.
Right, exactly.
And so we've got this party where Victor and Tabitha are trying to like entertain guests while Gary is kind of like sneaking around trying to collect bodies.
Now, give me like I didn't look up this song, that's on me, but we have like a bunch of LA acts, we have some like what are they roller derby ladies just kind of rollerblading around. But is this the Jazz Monster Mash playing? Sounds like it.
I did not even notice that, but that would be a really good gag.
Okay. Like, it's not actually the Monster Mash, but it's definitely talking about all the Universal monsters like the Monster Mash.
Oh, yeah, now that you say that, I do remember that. It like lists what all the monsters are doing, and it's like it's a very similar kind of song for sure.
Yeah. We also get a look at a bunch of goth gangbangers and a bunch of goth bikers. Like, that's the only way I could describe them.
Yeah, this party has a weird mix of people. There's like you said, there's a lot of girls on tables performing. No, like full-on strippers, but it's like, girls with like ribbons that they're like twirling around, and then, like you said, there's like roller derby girls and like kind of lingerie, skating around.
We get a lady called in the credits. She is known as Sexy Bambi, but they call her Bimbo. So.
Yeah. We also have 3 Elvis impersonators who are arguing. One of them is Asian, and we get some...
That's some racism, but also, is it racism if the guy's enjoying it? Because he clearly is.
I think the best way to interpret this scene is here is an actual Asian guy playing to Asian stereotypes because he knows it will get him money from idiot tourists.
That's the most charitable. Yeah, I'll take it.
He like quotes several Elvis songs and does the classic, like it's like Love Me Tender, but swap the L's and R's around. Basically, you got the gist of it. That's kind of what his whole shtick is.
Yeah. We definitely don't need to go any further into that one.
Yeah.
But yes, and apparently the captain guy is going to fire the other 2 guys in favor of making the Asian Elvis the star, right?
Yeah.
But we also get Carbonaro and his goon. The goon tries to recruit Tabby, and she's like, "Man, you're looking awful hot. I think you need to cool down." Dubs her drink down the front of his pants.
Yeah, because he's hitting on her. He's pretty gross.
Also, we have a discussion between Vic and Michael Carbonaro. Carbonaro, not in the room, obviously. He's green screened. Why? Did he not have time to shoot this? What's he doing?
Yeah, it's so obvious that this was shot at different times.
The audio's completely different. The like you said, the shot's completely different. Like, what is going on?
It's very strange.
It's fine. It works.
Yeah. We also get Gary talking to the interviewer girl from earlier. She's at the party, and basically, like, at first she's like, ew, gross. Gary, he's like a little short, bald guy. But when she realizes that he works for Vic, she's like, this might be another way in.
Right. I can ride my way to the top, kind of.
Yeah. So they go downstairs together, and she's like hitting on him. She's going to fuck Gary. And she's like, is Vic around? Because this could be a threesome thing. That could be fun.
Right.
And she starts to, she's going to, take her top off again. And then Gary slits her throat instead.
Yeah, pulls out a box cutter and slits her throat.
Yep. He goes and tells Vic, and Vic comes down to start working on the body, and he's like, we need more. So Gary goes back upstairs.
Right, but he's like, next time maybe use chloroform.
Yeah, don't be so messy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so Gary's kind of walking around trying to figure out how he's going to get another in with somebody, and he gets basically something dropped in his lap. This biker's like, "Hey man, you sell drugs?" And
right.
Gary's like,
crank or blow.
Yeah, Gary's like, "Oh yeah, follow me downstairs. I've got all the drugs, so many drugs. You'll love it. Great drugs. Come on downstairs."
His bimbo girlfriend is like, "Oh, I'm gonna go down there too. They're drugs."
Yeah. So they get downstairs, and the bimbo girlfriend sees the chopped up interviewer that Victor's been working on, starts to freak out, but Vic sneaks up behind her and hits her on the head with something.
No, he chloroforms her.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And then the biker's like, "What the fuck, man?" And he pulls a knife, and he's going to
stab one on me.
Yeah, he's about to stab Gary, but Vic gets up behind him and chloroforms him as well.
No, he clubs him.
Oh, okay. I got it swapped, I guess.
Yeah, you got it swapped. It's good.
And then Vic's like, "All right, well, we still need. I think we need a little bit more, but I've got some good stuff to work on here. I'm gonna castrate this biker to make him more obedient.
Right, like a neutered dog, right?
Yeah, and I can give him the heart of this whore and the brain of this bimbo. That'll make him really easy to get along with. But go get me one more body."
I feel like he's being really uncharitable to the interviewer.
Yeah. I mean, what? Yeah, she seems to be a reporter, and I don't think that this other girl. I mean, I guess she does kind of have like the bimbofication kind of vibe. Like she's got the big, injected lips and all of that. But like, yeah, I don't like. Yeah, especially the interviewer. I don't. But like, yeah, obviously Vic's a shitty guy. This seems this is in character for him for sure.
But he's like, "Hey, get another guy, but make sure he's not as big as the biker."
Yeah. So back upstairs, Gary is looking around again, and Tabby's like, "Have you seen Vic? Is he downstairs?" And Gary's like, No, don't go downstairs. He's busy." And she's like, "I'm going downstairs."
Right. But also, she's being hit on by this guy named, we're going to find out his name's Dale Jacoby. Yeah. But I just call him the redneck.
Yeah, he's this creepy guy with a shaved head. And he's like, well, I'll come down with you. I'll protect you if there's something weird going on. And Gary's like, "All right, I guess this is a freebie. We'll take this guy." So, right. All right.
No, you definitely come down there. Tabby, you should stay up here, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so as they get downstairs, of course, Tabitha sees everything that's going on. She freaks out. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the creepy guy, he looks over and sees the interviewer girl's torso.
Yeah, just playing with the boobs.
Yeah, just boobs, no head, no arms. And he's like, "Interesting." So, yeah, and
is this part of your act? Vic's like, "Yeah, it's absolutely part of the act."
Yeah, so Gary takes this distraction as an opportunity, slits the guy's throat, which...
Oh, he doesn't just slit the guy's throat. He cuts his head off with a fucking box cutter. Like, yeah. Gary is unhinged.
Yeah, which that obviously really freaks Tabitha out. She's like, "What the fuck? What are you guys doing?" And Vic's like, "I promise you, this is going to change everything. I am bigger than God at this point. Once this is done... Right. Next level. Like
I'm going to revive the dead, something God couldn't even do. But, like, I'm not trying to be an apologist, but, like, according to his book, he did it a couple times. Just saying.
Right, yeah. So then we get a kind of extended science montage of them putting this together. There's a lot of gore in this particular part. Mm-hmm. We end up with... It mainly just looks like the biker, but he's got like half of his face is the bald guy's face. It looks like they made like a half mask and just kind of like laid it on part of his face.
Like a Phantom of the Opera mask.
Yeah. It doesn't look great, but it looks monstrous and weird. So then we have the show is about to start. Like, a little time has passed. We're gonna do the big reveal.
Yeah, they're rehearsing what they're gonna do, right?
Yeah, and Vic's kind of he's like, "All right, so you're gonna." Take the audience member back to the audience, then go backstage, come out with the slab with the monster, and Tabby's like, "I can't move that; it's too heavy." He's like, "All right, Gary, this is going to be your big debut. You can come on stage with the slab; it's all going to work." And then there's a knock at the door.
Right. And who is that?
It's Daniel Roebuck in a quick cameo.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, he's what's his name, Detective
Gladwell.
Detective Gladwell, yes. He's looking for Dale Jacoby. He was at Vic's party last night. And Vic's quick to be like, "I didn't have a party."
Yeah, I had a little gathering, a couple friends, maybe a few colleagues. Yeah. And it's a really great ongoing gag because the detective keeps calling it a party and he'll, Vic tries to correct him and he's like, "Oh, yeah. I say party, you say gathering. That's what we're doing. This is our bit.
Right. It's like he knows that, Vic, you're full of shit. Like, you probably had something to do. Like, the detective is actually smart.
He's like really friendly and kind of gregarious with Vic, but he definitely is not buying Vic's thing, but he knows he can't push too hard yet because he doesn't really have the evidence.
It's like he's almost pulling a Columbo, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe. It's eventually he's kind of just, they get to a point where it's like, or he, Vic's like, yeah, I don't want to, I kind of keep play things close to the vest. I wouldn't want to have fans at this party because, we got magicians, we got to keep things secret. And he's like, yeah, I had this magician kit when I was a kid, and it, the book said to keep them all a secret. Then my older brother threatened to kick my ass if I didn't tell him, so I told him. Broke the magician's code right away. I couldn't help it. Yeah,
that must be it, because that's why I'm not a very good magician, and you're a very good magician, so you're very good at keeping secret. Like, he's literally telling him, I know you're doing something, man.
Yeah, I know you're full of shit. I can't prove it yet, so I'm going to leave, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he leaves, and the next thing we see is the revival of the monster, but backstage they're testing,
Right. Which you got to do, you always got to do testing, right?
Yeah.
Victor has his "it's alive" moment, but by God, he's alive.
Yeah, and it goes on for a while. Like, he's right, like, it's almost like the holy shit, what the fuck, he's alive. Right. Like, he really is really milking it for all it's worth. And we also get a good gag where, like, he said, we don't need lightning, we've got the stratosphere. Right. So when they, flip the switch, we see the Stratosphere Casino go completely dark, and then it gets struck by lightning and then powers back on.
Right. And, so then they're like, hey, let's take a picture of this creature. Gary does so with the flash on, and that sends the creature, like, losing his shit.
Yep. Scares the monster. It jumps up, breaks out of the building.
Okay, now, here's a bit that we really haven't been bringing too much attention to. Throughout this entire thing, Gary is telling Vic how much he loves his sleep guns. He loves the sleep gun bit.
Yeah.
We see the sleep gun bit. It's literally just finger guns with him going, sleep, sleep, sleep. It's so good.
Yeah, just a little hypnotism gag. And so he tries it on the monster. It does not work. Which, that was supposed to be the thing. We can revive him with the collar, but we can also control him. The control part doesn't seem to work so well. So we get this extended bit where, like, again, using the resources available to them, they're just running around the streets of Vegas. They're like
just straight up.
Probably didn't get a permit, probably just, like, asked the people they were saying, like, are you cool being in a movie for 5 seconds? And people are like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Right. They run past a group of models that are they clearly know they're in a movie because they're all still smiling as these people run past them.
Yeah.
And spiking the camera the whole time. Also, listen, I'm a simple man.
I know exactly what you're
Titty nuns.
Yeah. It's like we see some just classic Vegas showgirls. Then we see topless nuns with, like, the the X tape pasty kind of things going on. Yeah, it's gratuitous, and I didn't mind.
Yeah. Nope. Ease that Catholic guilt that one way or another, right?
Yeah. But the whole time it's just the monster running, kind of scaring people, and then we have our trio of quote unquote heroes chasing after. Yeah. They eventually end up cornering the monster behind some building.
It's like a tattoo shop, which makes sense. He's a biker. Sure, maybe he wants to go there.
And they manage to get the collar off, which causes the monster to just collapse dead immediately. So they're like, now we got to get him back to the dressing room. Vic is like, I don't know why I'm still following you. You're fucking crazy. This is all terrible. And Vic's like, don't call me crazy.
Right. Oh, no. Yeah, we know he's crazy then.
Yeah, a little mad science bit there. We just cut to the show's about to start again. They're going to do it in person now, which seems like a bad call since they didn't really get things working correctly.
Right. They do the bit with the hypnotism, but oddly enough, Vic does not sexually, which I hate to say that, oddly enough, he doesn't sexually assault this person. He's too focused on the other creature coming up.
Yeah, we also see the detective is, like, walking down the street and sees the show, and he's like, I'm going to just pop in and see what's going on in the show, which perfect timing from him. So we see, that they roll the monster out to unveil this new trick. They They try it, and nothing happens. The monster doesn't even wake up this time.
Right. Everyone's like, we want Chris Angel instead.
Yeah, you suck. And he keeps trying, and then suddenly, the monster does finally sit up. Right away, the detective's like looking at the photo of Jacoby and is like, that half of that monster's face resembles this picture here. That's interesting.
Right, but Victor then says, there's no Angel, no Copperfield, only Victor Van Pelt. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, the monster is not responding to the control at all.
Yeah, because the flashes on all the cell phones are setting it off now.
Yeah, so it's going on a rampage. It's just throwing audience members around. Victor tries to remove the collar, but the monster just like snaps his neck and throws him on the ground.
Which I thought so too, though. I heard the snap, but this isn't what kills Victor.
Yeah, I thought he was dead, but it's like he's very hurt, and we'll get like one little last bit with him.
But the detective Gladwell, he pulls out his weapon, which is just a taser.
Yeah. We'll also get a little bit more black and white flashback footage of when the original monster went on a rampage and killed Roland.
Oh boy, did it!
Yeah, it fucks him up. So yeah, we at least get one last shot with the puppet monster.
Rips his head off and tears his spine out?
Yes.
Damn.
This is definitely like, oh, okay, this guy does, special effects for a living and wanted to get one last really good bit in there.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
But then the monster just starts bashing people's heads. Or Gary tries to stab it and gets his head crushed. And then the monster just runs around crushing people's heads.
Yeah. Finally, Tabitha sneaks up behind the monster and does manage to pull the collar off, but as the monster collapses, he lands on Tabby, seeming to kill her in the process.
Victor and her, like, the monster hits Victor one more time. I guess this does kill him.
Okay.
But him and Tabby have, like, a bloody kiss.
Yeah.
As he's like, I really love you. Like, could you believe that guy, though?
Yeah, it's that shitty, like, now that nothing, like, I don't have any other opportunities. Okay, sure, I'll apologize on my, it's the,
I fucked up on my
deathbed
bad.
confession kind of deal.
Right, but yes, she rips out the collar, and the creature, a la Simpsons, falls on her, crushing her.
Yeah. And then we have the weird couple from the House of Oddities just suddenly appear, and they're like, we told you there would be a bill to collect.
But they never understand the price.
Yeah. And so then we just get, like, sometime later, we have that couple, and they're like, okay, son, to the Frankenstein monster.
Right, our son. Our present for our son.
Yeah, we've got a little gift for you. And we see a bride monster that's been created mostly out of Tabitha, maybe some other parts, but it mostly looks like
I would be surprised if it was literally anything other than just Tabitha with her neck sewn back on.
Yeah, and sort of Bride of Frankenstein hair a little bit. Her hair looks a little different. So they zap her to life. When she sees that she's now a monster, she screams, and that takes us to credits.
Which is a slow-mo video of Roland and Mary Shelley dancing.
Yeah, just dancing in slow motion through the whole credits, which is, I always like when they do a little something on the credits. It just incentivizes sitting to watch them, and, nothing happens, no plot points or anything, but it's just a sweet little way to end it. Right.
So, as you can tell, this is amazingly different. On one hand, we have something that's low budget, looks it, feels it, is the worst part of low budget that you can get.
Yeah.
Versus low budget, but it's kind of the best you can get out of low budget. Like, every dollar was used well, the acting's pretty good, there are moments here and there that may be overused, a couple padding moments, but it's fine.
But overall, it feels like something that the people making it care about. They're clearly putting work in.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff to make this unique. I mean, it's a pretty unique story. We've over 150 Frankenstein stories so far, and this particular angle has never quite been done.
Right.
This whole Vegas show hypnotism thing, like it's kind of fresh, and
we've had hypnotism,
it looks pretty good.
Sure, but not in Vegas.
Yeah, true. And everybody seems like committed to the bit. The acting is it's not Academy Award winning, but it's good. Like they're trying. Whereas the Chauncey character in the Amityville one is painful to watch. Him like step on his own jokes that are not good to begin with. We didn't really intend for this to play out this way, but it's a perfect double feature in that you really see both sides of the coin. What can be done when you don't really commit to the bit and don't really try, and what you can manage if you really focus. Like, I wish these movies aren't documented well enough that you're going to be able to find their budgets, but they're probably close. I'd imagine Vegas one did have a little bit more money. Still, they're definitely making better use of the money they have.
I do want to see the budget. That would help put it more into perspective, because the first one, Amityville Frankenstein, I'm sure you could probably have done that for $10,000 max. This one, Las Vegas Frankenstein, I think you're looking probably at almost 10 times the budget at $100,000. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not much above that. And also you're not making like a B grade movie for less than $1 million most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's also I think it's also like there's a lot of things being on display here. So for Amityville Frankenstein, we also have everything's amateur. Like, everything is amateur.
Yeah.
Whereas Las Vegas, it's like professional on a budget, like you were saying.
And like, I can see like the people that made Vegas Frankenstein, like, I would imagine that these are people you might see moving up in the world.
Yeah.
Because they're really putting their best foot forward. This Damien Leone, like, speaking of Terrifier earlier, like, he's a guy who started as a special effects guy, just kind of started making his if you go back and watch All Hallows Eve or whatever, like the little anthology film that introduced the Art the Clown character, it doesn't look great. Like, it's low budget, it looks low budget, but it's got something there. It's got a spark, it's got something where, like, oh, these people are trying something, it's unique, and it's worked. Like, Terrifier 2 blew up in the theaters, and now everybody's so psyched for Terrifier 3 coming out. I could see a similar trajectory for the people that did Vegas Frankenstein.
Yeah. The
people who made Amityville Frankenstein, if they ever do anything else, it's going to just continue to be this trash over and over again until they just get bored and do something else with their lives.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is either level up or get out, right?
Yeah.
And I hate to talk bad about people like that, because don't get me wrong, if I were ever to make a production, it probably is going to be way more like Amityville Frankenstein than it is going to be like Las Vegas Frankenstein.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't have the resources, the money, the connection to actors that the people who did Vegas Frankenstein did. But, even on that low of a budget, we've watched some really, really low budget stuff where it's like, you can tell when people are trying, when they have something they're trying to say, and they're doing the best with what they have. Like, and there is a version of this Amityville one where if they were committed to it, they were trying something, they could have done something a little better that would have been more compelling. Like,
at least add more than just the 5 minutes we're just making us short.
Yeah, like if you're looping footage over and over again, that means you're just padding the time because you don't have anything to say. Yeah. If you're doing things where you're using the same credit sequence 4 times in the movie just to fill out the runtime, looping the electrocution, using that one establishing shot for a total of like 5 or 10 minutes, like, this isn't people who care about what they're doing. They're clearly trying to make something as quickly and cheaply and easily as possible with as little effort to make a little bit of money. And when that's the case, you're never going to end up with something good. Like, you're not. Like, that's not why people make art.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I think there are probably some people who do care, but the thing is they don't have the training to back it up or the script to back it up either, because, aforementioned, make money cheaply and quickly, right?
Yeah. So it's I would definitely recommend Las Vegas Frankenstein. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. Amityville Frankenstein may be the first movie that I'm just like, don't watch this. Like, I can't think of any reason that you would need to watch this movie.
Maybe watch the monster cut that I'll be releasing.
Yeah. If we could come up with a 5-minute cut, it would definitely cover everything you could possibly need to see out of it, and much more. Like, when I watched it, like, I started watching it and then quickly was like, oh, this is what's going on here. I sped it up to double speed and was still bored out of my fucking mind for most of it. I mean, this is an hour-long movie that I watched in a half an hour, and I never had to pause to take notes. There was plenty of time to get everything I needed to write down. Yeah. It's just bad. I think I'm pretty well documented as, like, highly recommending really bad movies. I can't in good conscience suggest that anybody watch this.
As mean as I feel mean saying this, but it's the honest truth. It is unfortunately a waste of time. A lot of it.
Yes. 100%. And I mean, again, that's when you talk about them doing all these loops. Yes, they're actively wasting your time. They're like, we need this to be an hour so that Tubi will host it. Yeah. What can we do? Let's waste another 5 minutes with this electrocution scene again.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they're wasting Tubi's time, they're wasting your time watching it, and that's that's not respecting the viewer in any way. So yeah, it's I feel the same way. I don't like shitting on anything anybody creates, but in this case, I really don't feel like...
Yeah, I don't really feel bad about it either, though. Like, I feel bad, but just because I'm shitting on something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, anything else we got to say about it? I think we've covered it up.
Yeah, I think that's it for this one.
You know what? If we do release this and the actual creator of Amityville Frankenstein wants to contact us, I would be interested just to have a chat with them.
Yeah, I would love to, if nothing else, I'm curious about how this stuff happened with the video game, how that got mixed in there, like how they got the rights to do that. Yeah, there's a lot that I don't think we could ever look up about this because there's just not information out about it. But if someone involved in the production wanted to talk to us, absolutely reach out. We would love to talk to you. Yeah. The Frankencast@gmail.com. Hit us up.
Yep, absolutely. All right, anything else we got to say about it?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, other than that, what the heck are we doing next week? My brain is mush at this point.
Next week, so we're doing Ex Machina. So this is, a very big leap away from this. This is, a much bigger budget movie.
So next week, we're going from low budget to high budget, high concept.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is one that it's been on our schedule for a while, and for whatever reason, every time that we have like something weird come up, a new release, it always seems like this is the one that's about to come up and it gets bumped. So this has been like, in the works for like well over a year. So I'm glad we're finally going to talk about this one because I haven't seen it since it came out, and I remember really liking it, and I think the Frankenstein elements there are going to be fun to talk about. All
right. Well, other than that, where can they find us, Anthony?
So yeah, you can find us on all the socials at the Frankencast, including TikTok. We're doing stuff over there, so come see us, see our faces, see us talking about Frankenstein stuff in video. You can also find us over on YouTube, and you can email us, as I said, at thefrankencast@gmail.com. And you can also find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast, where we're still doing the free trials. We've got this new collections thing where you can pay one-time a la carte prices to buy certain chunks of our back catalog over there if you want to just check out us talking about the monsters or us talking about comic books or whatever. There's a couple of those. So whatever works for you, if you just want to dip in and check some stuff out, there's a lot of options for you. We'd love to have you over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend most of the Punisher if you can get a hold of that one. That one's a little bit of fun.
Yeah. There's that along with a lot of Creature Commandos talk and one little collection, so you can grab it all real easy.
All right. I want you to repeat this 5 times, okay? To be continued. 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 Just kind of waste the time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.